Hello everyone, welcome to the developer journey, robot calculations and inference agent. This developer journey was conceived by Vishal Chahal, Executive Specialist, IBM Software Labs, myself RK Sharad Kumar, Data Scientist, IBM Software Labs, Ankit Malviya, Data Architect, IBM Software Labs. The code repository for this developer journey is available at github.com/IBM/Watson-now-robo. This developer journey is intended for developer who wants to find a new way to interact with a AI agent in the form of NavRobo. This journey talks about how do we integrate NavRobo with IBM cloud offerings like Watson Conversation Services and Data Science Experience to deliver real-time analysis on the financial data. We will take you through end-to-end steps in building an interactive interface between NavRobo, Watson Conversation API, and Data Science Experience. The capabilities of the robo can be enhanced exponentially by integrating with the cloud offerings, and that is exactly what we are trying to achieve in this journey. When the reader has completed this journey, they will be able to understand how to establish the communication between NavRobo, Data Science Experience, Conversation APIs. They'll be able to create a chatbot using Watson Conversation. They'll be able to perform statistical analysis on a financial dataset using Jupyter Python Notebook on IBM Data Science Experience. Let's get started by reviewing the architecture diagram for this journey. The first step is where user will post the question to NavRobo, which will use its speech to text functionality to convert the speech into text and then initiates Node-RED starter and sends the text to Watson Conversation, which will in turn break the text into intent and entities and stores it in cloud and database to track the conversation. The intent and entities are sent across to Jupyter Notebook on Data Science Experience, where the generic functions using Python programming language will get executed on basis of the intents and entities sent from Watson Conversation Service. We are using object storage to store the data and then perform all the financial computation, statistical analysis in the Jupyter notebooks using that data. The Jupyter Notebook is powered by Spark, and the output from Jupyter Notebook is sent across to Node-RED Flow using WebSocket. The Node-RED Flow output is sent across to NavRobo, which will explain the analysis to the user. As you can see below, the steps are listed in a sequence which will tell us how the end-to-end journey can be accomplished using the architecture diagram. Moving ahead to the next section, which will talk about the components which are part of this journey. The first one would be NavRobo, which is a unique combination of mechanical engineering and software. It is a character made up of a multitude of sensors, motors, and softwares. The second one would be Node-RED, which is a programming tool for wiring together APIs and online services. The third one would be Watson Conversation API, which is used to build, test, and deploy chatbot applications. The next one would be Data Science Experience, which is used to analyze data using RStudio, Jupyter, and Python in a collaborative environment. The next one would be Bluemix Object Storage, which will provide an unstructured cloud data store to deliver cost-effective apps and services with high reliability. The last but not the least would be Jupyter Notebook, which is an open source web application that allows us to create and share documents that contain live codes, equations, visualizations, etc. Moving ahead to the next section, which is feature technologies, where we can see that data science, analytics, Python, and Jupyter Notebooks are part of feature technologies under this journey. Let's get started to review the steps to accomplish this journey. To begin with, the first step would be to sign up for IBM Bluemix. After clicking the sign up button, we will get a free account which is valid for a period of 30 days, which can be used to explore the complete Bluemix catalog. The next step is used to create Bluemix services, which is creating a Node-RED starter as provided in the instructions. We can just follow the instructions and then create the Node-RED starter application. The next step would be to create Watson conversation service again by following the instructions which is given here, and then click on the service credentials and then view credentials and make note of the credentials for further use. We can also click on manage and then launch to launch the conversation workspace. Now we need to configure Watson conversation application. We have uploaded workspace.json file, and please go ahead and download that from conversation directory to local machine. Click on the import button on the top right hand side and upload the workspace.json from the local system. The workspace ID can be found by clicking on the context menu of the new workspace and select view details. We just have to make note of this workspace ID because it has to be keyed in the Node-RED flow at a later stage. After importing the workspace.json, we will be able to view the intents, entities, and dialogues for this particular journey. To begin with, the intent tab, as you can see, we have created different intents for average, bottom, max, min, and summation. And then we have created entities, which are nothing but attributes directly taken from the dataset. The entities are of two types. One is my entities. The second one is system entities. My entities is user defined and changes as per the dataset. System entities is system defined as the name suggests it. And we are using sysdate and sysnumber from the system entities to recognize dates and numbers coming in the form of coming along with the text. The next stage would be to create a dialog. We are showing a sample example for max entity where the dialog has been created. For example, what's the maximum profit? The bot will ask for which product you would like to know the maximum profit. After the user keys in the input, it will ask for which country, and then after the input is given, then that would be taken as question complete, and the intents and entities will be sent across to Data Science Experience Jupyter Notebook for further processing. The next section is import the Node-RED flow. We have created a Node-RED flow JSON which has all the connectivity between the web application, the conversation API, the data science experience. Please go ahead and download the robotic AI agent workflow.json. We can open the Node-RED instance, the text editor, and copy the contents to clipboard and then click on import. And then configure the conversation API credentials. We just have to double click on conversation node, follow the instructions mentioned here, and then key in the username, password, and workspace ID as we had made note of it earlier while creating the conversation service. The next stage would be to deploy the Node-RED flow button by clicking the deploy button on the top right hand side. This will make this Node-RED instance active. The next stage is to note the WebSocket URL from this Node-RED flow. This WebSocket URL is updated in the Data Science Experience Jupyter Notebook, which will ensure that the conversation service is connected with the Jupyter Notebook to exchange the information back and forth. We have also given an example of what would be a WebSocket URL. For example, myapp.bluemix.net/ws-robo_webpage. In that WebSocket example, myapp.bluemix.net would be the Node-RED based URL. We just have to keep that in mind and then move ahead to the next stage, which is sign up for Data Science Experience. After signing up, we will get two services, Spark and Object Store will be created in the Bluemix account. And then we move ahead to create the notebook in the Data Science Experience. We just have to use the menu and select projects and then default projects and then add notebook and then select from URL. We have already given the URL here. We have created the notebook which has all the functions for you to be explored. And then we hit the create notebook button and the notebook is created in your Data Science Experience instance. The next step is to add the data. So we just have to use find and add data, look for the 10.1 icon and its files tab, and then we just have to click on browse, select the file, navigate to the folder where it has been saved, and then add it to the data science experience for it to be read in the data science experience notebook. The data file can be downloaded from ibm.com/community/analytics. The link is given here. We just have to change the file name from sales marketing profit cost CSV to data.csv before reading it in DSX. Please visit the site for terms and conditions for usage of data. This dataset is available for general purpose use. The next step is update the notebook with service credentials. We have to add the object storage credentials to the notebook. Please follow the instructions which is given here. We just have to select the cell below 2.1 under the notebook section, add your service credential for object storage section in the notebook. We have to update the credentials in the same format as given here. The next step is update the WebSocket URL in the notebook. In the cell 7 below expose integration point with the WebSocket client, update the WebSocket URL noted in section 5 in the start WebSocket listener function. This is the same URL which we had made note of earlier in the previous section. We just have to update the same here. This will ensure that the data science experience Jupyter Notebook is communicating with the Node-RED flow, which is connected to Watson Conversation Service. And then we have to start the WebSocket client, which will enable the session to exchange the information back and forth from Conversation Service to data science experience. The next section is run the notebook. When we run the notebook, the code in each cell is executed in the order from top to bottom. We have to execute it in the same format where the topmost cell is executed first, followed by the subsequent cells. This will ensure that all the dependencies and libraries which are needed for the functions to get executed are already in place, and there will be no problem with the execution of the subsequent cells. We can also select cells in our notebook, and you can run all below. That will start executing from the first cell under the currently selected cell and then continue executing all the cells that follow. That is another way of running the notebook. So the last section would be results sent to the Node-RED flow. After all the cells are run in the notebook, we have the output in the data science experience Jupyter Notebook, which is sent across to the Node-RED flow through WebSocket. The WebSocket will again take the response from Node-RED flow and it will send it to NavRobo, which will explain the analysis to the user. We have given a sample here where the user will post the question, what is the highest profit of Capri Italy in 2007? For which the NavRobo response would be the highest profit of Capri Italy in 2007 is 310,000. So this is done on a real-time basis, and that is the beauty of this journey, where we have integrated NavRobo, we have enhanced its capabilities, we have used its feature of speech to text, and then integrated with Watson Conversation Service, which is again further integrated with data science experience, and all of them are coming together using Node-RED to form a cognitive agent which can do statistical analysis on a real-time basis on a financial dataset. Please visit this site for more information and more details about this journey. Thank you for watching.